Buddy. Hi, honey. So, before I start this, Harry Chalker, one of my best friends, gave me some really good advice before I do this. He said, Pete, make sure you don't make this about you. That's not going to happen. So, Julie said to me about a week ago, she said, honey, do you have your speech prepared? I said, I'm working on it, but you know me, honey, I kind of go off the cuff. She goes, no, I'd like you to write it down, because I don't want you to go too long. I said, well, all right, hand me a piece of paper. That's what she handed me. So we're going to keep it tight. I'll tell you, when you have a daughter, and the men in the room that have daughters can understand this, you dream about a night like this. And the first thing you think about is, what kind of guy is she going to marry? And then there's Chase. I don't know very many men that are intimidated by their son-in-law. But on paper, he's way cooler than me. We'll get to Chase in a minute. So, Sidney and I have a very special relationship as a father and a daughter. She's my firstborn, and when she was born, it pretty much broke everything I ever knew about life. So, bringing her home from the hospital, from that point forward, by the way, I'm going to start at conception. There's a family program, maybe I won't. Julie did cut that part out of the speech. But anyways, there are a couple things I want to share about Sidney that kind of describe who she is. So first of all, Sidney is very tough. So I will describe this in Natalie. Where's Natalie right now? Natalie can relate to this. So Sidney was playing in a soccer game with Natalie when they were probably 11 years old. And Sidney is kind of like me. Her personality is like this. Just like this. But every once in a while, it goes like this or like this. This is one of these. She played the game of her life, literally took over the game. And Julie and I are driving home after the game. I said, honey, what happened? She said, number 10 punched me in the nose, and I did not like that. So I was thinking before every game to punch her in the nose. We didn't do that. The other story, and Vinny, this is going to embarrass you. I was going to save this for your wedding, but probably better off not to. Sidney loves pancakes. How much does she love pancakes? Well, when the kids were little, we took a trip to northern Michigan to Mackinac Island, and we took a ferry over to the island. Vinny apparently gets motion sickness. We didn't know this at the time, so we're sitting in a pancake shop, just ordered the family breakfast. Sammy's in a stroller, Vinny's sitting next to us, and Julie looks at me, she goes, Vinny's gonna get sick. I said, what are you talking about? She goes, Vinny's gonna get sick right now. Vinny proceeds to throw up like this and spray vomit over the entire restaurant. Literally cleared the place out. There's Sidney. These pancakes are pretty good. I don't know what everybody's leaving for. These pancakes are awesome. And there's literally, it's everywhere. I could continue that story later. The last part is Sidney is an incredibly hard worker. She's very dedicated to everything she does with her kids that she works with. And when she was in school, both high school and college, her note-taking was ridiculous. She's in the Hall of Fame at Green Hope. By the way, she was the female athlete at Green Hope. We saw that in her notes last night. But her notes are in a framed box in the principal's office. You can rent them if you'd like to. So she's very, very dedicated. But probably the best thing Sidney's ever done was find a boyfriend. So now on to Chase. So Mark gave a speech last night at the rehearsal dinner about Chase. And I knew Chase was a pretty good guy, but I took notes and I ran out of paper. It was ridiculous. So Chase has never really lost at everything, I don't think, right? Never lost at anything. Where's Madison? She can agree to that, right? Just what? Dancing. I didn't want to go there with Chase because tonight will prove that Chase is not a very good dancer. But I did realize at the wedding that the only time Chase has been less than average is when they lined the bridal party up by height. Right, yeah. Okay, so, by the way, 9 years, that's all I've got. 9 years, that's it. So, the last trait I'll share about Sidney is patience. If you can wait 9 years for anything, you're a pretty patient person. Checking my notes here, sweetheart. Yeah. I think I got that down. That's good. Right. All right. So it did deter. I think I realized that at the wedding today, while this is important to talk about Sidney and talk about Chase, the most important thing to talk about is the two of them together, right? The wedding itself today, we're celebrating the actual ceremony and the marriage itself, and I think that's why all of you are here. So I told some folks today when I walked Sidney down the aisle today, first of all, I saw my bride, Julie, first. And I was like, you can't do that to me. I hadn't even seen Sidney yet. Then I saw Sidney. We walked down the aisle. It was like tunnel vision. I was just focusing on Chase, and Chase is completely losing it in front of me. When I shook his hand, we had a little heartfelt conversation about how he needed to get his act completely together because I was totally calm. But then I turned around to walk back to the pew, and I'm like, oh, my God, these are all of my most favorite people in the entire world, except for the 3 or 4 people that didn't pick up their card and come here. I want a refund for them. But literally, the entire thing about when you want your daughter to meet the man of her dreams, and Mark, when you gave your speech last night, where's Mark? He's somewhere over here. You talked about faith, right, and putting God at the center of your relationship, and I think that's the most important thing I want you guys to take away from. You talked about how great Chase's decision-making has been all of his life, and I'll have to agree. These two don't ask for anything that they don't need. They're very simple in their lives, and they love to be around all their family and friends. So I never worry about you two trying to keep up with the Joneses, because quite frankly, you guys are the Joneses. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.